Hello, this is psychologist Yulia Latunenko with you, and today we will talk about how to control your anger. Many such questions are asked by my clients, group therapy clients, and you also ask this question, Janine, during streams. And I believe that this is perhaps the most important question a person asks themselves. Because if we cannot control our anger, it is very difficult for us to build interpersonal relationships, to build a career, because at work we also need to control it somehow. So today I will share my thoughts on how to do this and about my experience, how I do it. And for those who haven't subscribed to my channel yet and just came across this video, please subscribe and stay with me because there is a lot of useful information on psychology here. Also, don't forget to like this video. The first thing I would like to emphasize on this topic is that you need to learn to recognize the moment when you feel your anger. When you feel your anger, you need to identify it for yourself. That is, any feeling that we verbalize, even if only to ourselves, in our mind, we name that feeling. I feel anger at this moment. This awareness of the feeling already reduces the intensity of the anger. With the help of some questions to yourself, which I will tell you about now, you will be able to work more effectively with your emotion of anger. And the first question I recommend asking yourself after you have realized that you feel anger and have named it to yourself is, can I control this situation? Does anything depend on me in this situation? Because we usually feel anger when some external stimuli come into our lives and affect our plans, our feelings, and our expectations, among other things. And if something doesn't go according to our plan, not according to our expectations, we can experience emotions ranging from irritation, which is a low intensity of anger, to rage. This is a very high intensity of anger. So you need to ask yourself, can I influence the change in this situation? Do I control this situation? Can I change something on my own, through my own choices, made on my own decisions? For example, if a plane is delayed at the airport and you have to wait again for several hours and wait and you are wasting your time. And maybe you have a connecting flight planned somewhere and you realize that you are going to be late and a very strong irritation arises up to the point of anger. How can this be? You are losing money. But can you influence the weather conditions, the technical condition of the plane that is delayed, or other reasons that may be completely unknown to you? And if you understand that you cannot influence this in any way, then you can change your attitude towards the situation. That is by telling yourself, I cannot change this. So I can only change my feelings, change my attitude. In other words, realizing that there are situations you cannot control and in which you need to curb your anger. Understand that if you feel anger in such a situation, it will only harm you more, drain your energy, because the helplessness, the feeling of helplessness that arises in this case, exhausts the body. And if there are many such situations, Unochi, in your life where you cannot control your anger, cannot control the situation, and get stuck in that anger, it will affect your mental health, your sleep, and the state of your physical health. You may have many psychosomatic disorders that are permeated, truly permeated, with this anger that you cannot express. So how do you express anger? Because from childhood, we are told that anger is something very, very bad. We are told, don't be angry, don't be angry, you shouldn't. But that's not entirely true. a child really cannot influence a situation that does not depend on them. And parents also convey to them that if you're angry, you will be a bad person. But the best attitude parents can have towards their child, the greatest gift parents can give to their child is permitting the child to express anger, resentment, such negative feelings in response to external stimuli from the parents, which the child cannot control in any way. Therefore, if parents, if they are knowledgeable, they will tell the child the opposite. You can be angry. You have the right to do so. You have time. I understand your anger. Parents will name this feeling. For example, if a child wants to stick 2 fingers into an outlet and is not allowed to do so, the child may get angry, right? But if a child, for example, is raised in a family where the parents are emotionally immature, there will be a lot of frustration regarding the child's basic needs, such as the need for love, respect, recognition, and safety. And of course, a child frustrated in these needs will become angry, and the parents will tell them not to be angry because it makes them bad. Then the child develops a sense of guilt and doesn't know what to do with it. Such a child grows up and develops a trait in their character known as reactivity, meaning an external stimulus and an immediate reaction. Parents did not allow anger, and some people follow the path of reactivity, meaning stimulus in anger reaction, anti-stimulus anger reaction. And some people follow the path of suppression, in all cases because they try to avoid the feeling of guilt for expressing their anger. In other words, anger is prohibited. Therefore, our task is to learn to control our anger. First, you need to become aware of this anger. Name it, at least internally. Mentally acknowledge that this is the feeling of anger I am currently experiencing. And then, after that, ask yourself if you have the power to change anything here, and if I do not control the situation. If it is not within my power to change anything, I will try to change my attitude towards the situation. And here, a situation comes to mind described by Eckhart Tolle in his book A New Earth, where he describes his work on anger while he was standing in a park, waiting to meet his friend. The friend was about 30 minutes late, and when the friend arrived, he was already feeling guilty and started to make excuses. He began to say, I am healing your wound because you are probably angry with me. I will somehow fix this situation. Come on, let's go. I'll treat you to coffee and dessert. Let's urgently go to some cafe. But Eckhart Tolle stopped him and said, listen, stop this. I wasn't waiting for you. The friend didn't understand what he meant and asked him, how so? And what were you doing? And he says, I was just being with this lake and with these swans. I was watching them. I was looking at the sky, watching the clouds float by. I was looking at the leaves of the trees fluttering in the air, and in this way, I didn't feel anger or irritation towards you. So Eckhart Tolle shows us a situation of how we can change our attitude towards an external stimulus. Yes, if something doesn't meet our expectations and we can't control it, then Eckhart Tolle has shown us how we can change our attitude. That is, if this time is given to us for some reason, also at the airport, it may happen that you have to sit for several hours waiting for a plane that didn't take off on time. Take a book with you. Perhaps this time is for you to read a few extra pages a day, to think about something, to delve into yourself, maybe to ponder over things for which you don't have time. That is, if this happens, then this time is given to us for some reason. So this is exactly an example of how you can qualitatively change your attitude towards the situation. But I also suggest going further in understanding your anger, because we all know that working with anger, using any techniques like hitting a pillow or a punching bag or doing some other methods, that's okay, like going to the forest to scream. That's all okay, but it all only situationally relieves tension. It all works for exactly 5 minutes. You feel better for 5 minutes, but if you are a person who is not aware of the things I am talking about in the video today, if you do not know how to internally change your attitude towards your feelings, then this anger will not go away from you. It can sit within you for your entire life, and with any small triggers, you will flare up again like a candle and react. Remember, I already told you about the situation where a lab frog gets pricked with a needle in its paw and it reflexively pulls its paw away. This is about how we often react, just like those frogs. Without giving ourselves time to realize what we are feeling, a stimulus comes and we instantly react, yes, without having time to think. So, in order to increase our awareness, to learn to differentiate, that is, to distinguish our feelings, to catch them in the moment, we need to work on ourselves internally. So let's continue about awareness. And in this video, I want to tell you about some more life hacks that I personally use in my life to control my anger. In general, I really don't like the word control, but I can't find anything more suitable. Because for me, controlling anger often used to sound like slightly restraining or suppressing it. But then I realized that when you become aware and when you have the right attitude towards your feelings, when you learn to manage your emotions, it's precisely about you controlling yourself, not anger controlling you. So the next question I suggest you ask yourself is, what need of mine is frustrated right now? That is, what need of mine is currently unmet? And here, if you have realized that you are feeling anger, then I suggest this approach. If I am angry, it means some need of mine is currently unmet. This could be a need for safety. It could be a need for attention, love, recognition, approval, power, control, and also self-fulfillment. This is the tip of our needs. Therefore, you need to realize which need is connected to this situation where I feel anger. Another question we need to ask ourselves is, who am I angry at? At whom specifically? Because any feeling of anger has an external object that caused this frustration of our need, our desire for something. That is, you can't say, I'm angry at myself. That's autoaggression. You turn the anger on yourself, and in doing so, you cause harm to yourself, especially harm to your physical health, because psychosomatics will be insured here. Unfold it. You can't be angry at yourself, but you can be angry at someone else. You need to look outside. At whom am I angry? When you have found the object you are angry at, you need to ask yourself another question. Is this object, this person, this group of people at fault for anything? At least for something. Are they at fault or not? The answer will be either yes or no. And here I want to tell you about two types of conflicts. Let me remind you that we are only obligated to our children. Any adult person owes you nothing. And if you say, yes, you owe me something, for what reason? Do you consider yourself a child and there's an adult responsible for you? That is, only parents owe something to the child, not the other way around. When one adult meets another adult on a horizontal level, not vertically like one above, one below, but horizontally, then the response should be, you owe me nothing. But there's a little catch here. When it comes to our boundaries, we all have the right for our boundaries to be respected. And if a conflict occurred because your boundaries were violated by someone, then you need to understand the position you are in. And again, there are two types of conflicts. As a reminder, this is my personal life hack. There are stop type conflicts. Stop, my boundaries have been violated. Stop, no, don't go through. You can't treat me like that. I do not allow this with me. And this is a stop type conflict, in which I am in an adult position because I am defending my boundaries. And by the right of my birth, I have the right for people to respect my boundaries. And there is also a give type conflict. Give me attention, give me love, provide me with some resources, give me something that you have and I don't. And this is the position of a child. When the give type conflict comes from you, give me time, spend time with me. Only a child can expect that parents owe them all this. But one adult cannot expect another adult to meet all their demands, all their desires, all their expectations. This is the position of a child. If you see, for example, in personal relationships, that a person takes more while you give a lot, and your needs in the connection to give back, to take are imbalanced, then you should simply ask yourself the question, why am I with this person who voluntarily has no intention of giving me attention, love, time? Don't squeeze love out of people. Just move on. Because then, if you start to pressure, saying, you can't treat me like this, I want your love, I want hugs, I want sex, I want your money, I want you to provide for me, and I want something else. If you want them to care for you like a mother cares for a child, in this case, stop yourself. Understand that you are in a give conflict in the position of a child, and then you don't need to go and talk to this person. But if you are in a stop, no conflict, meaning you are defending your boundaries, and here anger is very necessary for us, like anger, like aggression, yes, to protect our boundaries, then we need to go and talk to the person who has become the stimulus for violating your boundaries. To avoid being reactive, like that frog that receives a stimulus and immediately reacts, you need to first understand who is the object, who is the stimulus, where did the stimulus of this situation come from? What am I feeling? Anger? Towards whom, right? Towards that object. What conflict am I in the stop conflict or in the give conflict? Am I a child right now, or am I an adult who is defending their boundaries? And here you need to choose your position. If I am an adult, if I am defending my boundaries, we go and verbalize our feelings in an I message. We tell the person, I am very dissatisfied right now. I am angry because I am irritated that my boundaries in this matter have been violated. That's it. And I ask you not to do this anymore, ever again, right? I won't go into detail about iMessages now, because I've already talked a lot about how to construct them properly in my videos and streams. Not everyone can construct iMessages correctly, but I've explained this many times already. Therefore, in your iMessage, you need to verbalize your feeling of anger. Directly tell this person, don't suppress it, because you're afraid of offending them. You have this experience where your parents suppressed your anger and you're afraid of offending, that they will leave you, break contact with you, and you'll be alone, lonely. Therefore, you need to go and assert your boundaries, talk to people, but try not to always speak aggressively. Instead, use iMessages to talk about it. But if you are in a give conflict and you feel like a child, find the strength within yourself to move into an adult position. Tell yourself, yes, I lack this with this person. But why am I still near the person who doesn't want to spend time with me, doesn't want to respect my boundaries, who only takes and doesn't give? Why am I here? And then there will be some kind of reaction. That is, there is a stimulus. There is a zone when you ask yourself all these reasonable questions, realize what you feel, verbalize that anger to yourself first, ask a series of these questions that I told you about, and only after that, do you react, do something. Only then will you be a conscious person. But I understand that it's very difficult to work through all this on your own. Our subconscious patterns, our models that we took from our childhood control us. Just 95% of our actions are just that. We are aware of only 5% of our actions, while 95% remain subconscious. And of course, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and stay with me. There's a whole lot of useful content on psychology here. And of course, please don't forget to like this video. The success of my channel also greatly depends on this. And write in the comments if you have any special ways of managing your anger. Maybe you have your own life hacks. It would be very interesting to know.